Are you ready to create a life you crave? Let's spin that doom loop of negativity into an upward success cycle and start living lucky.
Happy Hump Day.
I'm Jana.
I'm Jason.
And we are living lucky.
Ooh.
Wow. I'm stuck. I'm stuck.
How does that feel?
I was stuck on Jason's ball.
Hello.
Today,
Happy Hump Day.
Today we're talking about communication. Talking about communication. Sometimes I feel like he said, oh, sorry. I just
What's in the cup, Ross?
I just picked your nose.
What's in the cup, Ross?
Sometimes I feel like we're always playing this game of he said, she heard, or she said, he heard. Do you guys play that as a married couples? As a married couples? Talking about communication.
Can you pick up some bread from the grocery store? Donuts are bread.
Donuts are not bread. Donuts are not bread. Let's just make that very, very clear. Everyone will agree with me on that. Everyone. Say hello, Patrick. How are you, my friend?
Patrick knows donuts are bread.
Patrick, do you think donuts are bread?
She said, he heard.
We're talking about communication because sometimes, in fact, I think almost always, when there's a misunderstanding or when things aren't quite...
When things aren't perfect, it's usually
a breakdown in communication. Would you agree with that?
Almost 100% of the time.
And sometimes it literally comes down to we're on the same page. It's just nobody wants to say what they're feeling because they don't want to hurt the other person.
Yeah.
And
unmet expectations are usually unexpressed expectations, which is just communication.
Yes. And the reason we're talking about this is we went into a company yesterday, and I'm telling you, this company had so much love in the room. More love than I have seen in a company in a long time. Yeah. You could feel how much care and empathy it was very tight knit. It was so tight knit. It felt like a family sitting down for dinner. It did. It didn't even feel like a business. It felt like we were in a home almost. And it was almost like because they were in it, they were in the picture, they couldn't really see what was happening. So they brought in some outsiders, Jana and Jason, and it was literally a breakdown in communication. Yep. And when you can say, you know what, we're all on the same team, it's just nobody wants to say what needs to be said here.
We're all trying to put food on the table. We're all pushing towards the same goal. It's just some of us need a little bit more direction, and some of us are learning into it.
There's a breakdown in communication. Here's another example. Good morning, Julian. Good morning. Sheila's here. Julie's here. Oh my gosh. Denise, hello. All right, the gang is all here. Here's an example. This morning, I was listening to a podcast. And this is where sometimes our egos and our judgments can get in the way. I was listening to a podcast, and I didn't necessarily agree with what the lady was saying. She was talking about how she felt that she needed to have an affair to heal her tumor.
Sometimes tumors only respond to sexual relations with someone outside the marriage.
She felt she needed sexual energy to heal her tumor that she had. And the only way that she could get this new sexual energy was by stepping outside of her marriage. Now, I automatically have preconceived beliefs about all of this because I know how I feel on the matter. So immediately I hop to my own conclusions, and I'm coming from my value system and my perspective. So And we do this in life. We do this in life. And my immediate thing was to tune her out and to say, she's full of crap.
So it's
like my bullshit meter is going off
the
here.
communication window narrows.
It did.
So it goes from open-mindedness
Yes.
and open ears, open receptivity to very closed, and I'm going to pick up a very limited amount of what you're saying, and I'm going to accept a very limited amount of what you're saying.
Yes. So all of a sudden, I literally stopped listening. I stopped listening, and then I caught myself. I caught myself because I thought, Jana, this is not what an expert communicator would do. An expert communicator would come at it with curiosity. And that's the difference.
How could this be true for you?
And the way you come at it with curiosity is by questioning. You ask questions and you try to put yourself in their position, and you try to imagine yourself in, okay, for her and in her life circumstances, maybe this is what she was feeling, maybe this is what she was experiencing, and it just gives you a different idea of where she was at in her world and what kind of reality she was creating for herself.
It gives the availability for at least understanding and communication, because we see this breakdown
Yeah.
just in there's all kinds of situations in politics, in religion, in all those things that you're not supposed to talk about when you're meeting new people over dinner, like in business meetings, all these areas that they say don't bring this up.
Yeah.
But you can bring it up if you can keep that field of focus wide and accepting, and keep the communication authentic and real instead of personal
That's so good.
and ego. Like,
Get your ego out of it.
Don't let it affect your own values, but accept that other people have their values.
And the more accepting you are of other people's opinions and other people's perspectives, the more accepting they will be of yours. And here's the thing, none of us are right. The truth is always somewhere in the middle. We're all coming at it from our own eyeballs and our own experiences. I want to talk about Zach's comment here. He says, up with baby Palmer. So tuning in. Oh, congratulations.
Zach, I wish I could make it to the prayer lunch today. We are so slammed, and we have a trip coming up to Mexico. So I'm not going to be able to make it today.
We actually are supposed to be on a plane to Puerto Vallarta, except they are having an earthquake right now, which is very, very interesting. And we've been keeping an eye on the radar. So we have now moved our trip back a couple days, and we will be leaving on Saturday. Good morning, Jeff Frent. We are talking about communication. Communication. Now, Jason and I not only have had I studied communication in school. I had a career in broadcasting, and I married Jason, who is maybe one of the most social people I know. Plus, he had a career in sales, and if you have ever been around anyone in sales, they are maybe one of the best communicators in the business.
We work on it and study it.
Here's the thing. We have taken many workshops. We have studied neuro-linguistic programming. We have also worked on the communication that we have with one another. There are 3 types of communicators in this world. There are, and there's a combination of all different sorts, but here's just the basics. We have visual communicators, people who communicate in terms that are think of your eyesight.
I see what you're doing there.
Yes, they will use words like see, visualize.
Can you picture that?
Picture, paint. So they are considered visual learners. They are
I'm a
very
visual
good
learner.
at imagining things. They actually speak this way as well. And if you really want to build rapport with them, you will use words like, do you see what I mean? And if that resonates with you, when I just said, do you see what I mean?
And you'll bring out a slide deck for them.
You'll say, yes, I see what you're saying, Jana. I understand you.
I can picture it. I can visualize
I can
it.
picture that. I can picture that. Now, there's also what we know as auditory learners. And these people are think of your ears. They like to listen. So if you're a person that likes to listen to the radio or listen to podcasts, or think about in school, if you were able to just hear the teacher tell you something, then maybe you are an auditory learner. Instead of the person that needed to actually see it written out or see it drawn out for them, that's a visual learner. But the auditory learner can just have someone tell them what to do.
Yeah. You listen to a song the first time, you remember all the words. You listen to,
These people
watch a movie, but you remember all the lines in the movie.
Yeah, these people will use, when they communicate, they will say,
How's that sound to you?
they will use words like sound and I hear ya, or listen to me. I don't feel like I'm being heard.
And they'll actually describe the sounds of things. Like, you should have heard the way the eggs were sizzling in the pan.
When they speak, they often talk
It's
in
that feeling the sound of things that
auditory
they like.
descriptions. And then the third
I'm
kind.
an auditory learner.
Are you? Yeah, I guess I knew that about you. And then the third type is kinesthetic. And these people like to feel
I'm
like.
a kinesthetic learner.
I'm a little bit of all three, to be honest with you. But kinesthetic learners, they like to feel things. And if you're a kinesthetic learner, you will attach emotion. And the reason I feel like I'm a little bit of all, well, okay, so to
You just
finish
said the reason I
kinesthetic,
feel this.
I know, I use feel all the time. I use metaphors to describe things. I can go back to a memory, and the reason I can remember things so well is because I attach to what I was feeling at that time. I can attach, oh yeah, I know what year that was because my grandma died and I felt so sad that year. Or I had my accident and I felt such pain. Or I had my first heartbreak and I felt this. Everything for me is attached to an emotion.
I had my first kiss. I had my third kiss. I had my eighth kiss.
Yes. And it helps me remember things. So that's just a quick little tidbit on communication. And one last thing, that's Amanda. She always thinks she's not being heard. Oh, so Amanda must be an auditory learner. So that's just a little 411 on communication. And one last thing, if you can just be present when you're communicating with people, it makes all the difference in the world. If you can just not be doing anything else and just be present, that's how you really make a connection.
And also, sometimes knowing what your communication style is so that you know you can help someone understand, hey, it helps me better if you communicate with me this way. It's kind of like the love languages.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I know you're trying to love me. Like, you're giving me service, or gift.
Yeah.
But I just want time. That's all I want.
That's true. That's true too. Anyway,
And that's a communication in itself.
There's so much to go into communication. We should really do a workshop on communication. Maybe we should look into that.
Lots of workshops.
Look into
coming
that.
up.
I just use look. See, I'm all
Visual.
three. I'm visual. Did you hear me? That's auditory.
Hey,
Do you
enjoy
feel-
your Wednesday. Zach, have a great time at the prayer lunch. Sorry
Yes.
I won't be there. It's next month.
And we won't be headed to Mexico until this weekend. So we will be here tomorrow and Friday. Bye, guys. Thank you for joining us. Sorry we did all the talking. Bye. If the idea of living lucky appeals to you, visit us at startlivinglucky.com.